These factors must be taken into consideration. To reopen would then mean, obviously, creating a rising tide of productivity and economic prosperity, but at least expected. But not to reopen would seem the most cautious option available, given the expectations of post-pandemic of a post-pandemic scenario. To then somehow bring everything into perspective, the choice between reopening and not reopening is basically a strategic choice that governments must consider seriously, given that to choose not to reopen would mean forgo the opportunities for the economy to undertake their strategic changes needed, to restructure the economy and prepare it to the future market conditions. To reopen, yes, would allow firms to introduce the so-called transformational, social, economic, and technological transformational changes, which would equip the economy and different sectors of the economy to compete in a future market scenario. But at what cost? And how long will this take place? How long will this take to? How long it will take for this to take place? Well, the possible conclusion to this, in order to somehow offer you offer some guidelines as to how to undertake the process of reopening or not reopening, because it's not so much a question of choice, but a question of how. Because you have to make the choice. Now, inevitably, the choice has to be that of reopening. But then the question is how to reopen. Well, the way out, therefore, or the dilemma for governments between reopening and not reopening has to do with the planning for the next normal. Government's concern with reopening comes down to controlling the speed of recovery on the one hand and the magnitude of the structural changes needed on the other. Since not all sectors of the economy have been equally affected by the pandemic, planning for the next normal will shape or should shape the recovery of the economy. So, a recovery strategy by a government should center then around planning the recovery of the private sector in 4 major phases or categories where all sectors of the economy can be included. Therefore, identifying different action plans for each sector of the economy. The first sector, the first of these actions can be called bounce back. The first action is aimed at what they're called the bounce back sector category of funds. This category of sectors include firms which have experienced only limited fundamental changes in the business environment. Therefore, they have been almost untouched by the crisis. Consequently, firms in this sector will see customers' demand returning relatively quickly. What type of firms are included in this sector? Well, firms are included in these sectors are food manufacturing, consumer goods, furniture, and the actions that should be taken to favor or aid these firms in a reopening process are, first of all, focus on supporting employees return to work. Two, consolidate consumer-supplier relationship which have been lost during the time of the lockdown. And three, improving the operational efficiency so that the firm can quickly adapt to the new normal situation. The second action initiative should be aimed at what are called the lean-in sector firms category. These sectors include firms where, although demand is likely to recover relatively quickly, it will only do so if firms adjust to the way consumer behavior operates after the lockdown. What type of firms are these? Well, firms in sectors such as retail, entertainment, finance services, health, and education. The government policy actions aimed at favoring that need to be undertaken in opening up in a reopening context should focus on helping or promoting the learning of new practices, ways of working, and consumption patterns of firms and their employees, so that firms can again have an easy transition towards the new normal. This could be enormously helped by relocating capital and, in particular, human resource talents. Okay. The third action, planning action, should be directed at those category of firms sector called restructure. This sector include firms where, though the fundamentals haven't been significantly affected or changed by the crisis, these firms in this sector are likely to face a slow demand growth and the supply chains might take time to recover. Therefore, these sectors are like construction, transportation, storage, and manufacturing. Therefore, the planning actions aimed at helping firms in these sectors to recover in a reopening context are to focus on new ways of improving their cost competition their cost competitiveness, and helping them or promoting them to initiate consolidating strategies such as joint ventures, buyouts, integration initiatives, so that firms in this sector could reach a critical mass capable of allowing them to compete in the new market normal. And finally, we have the actions aimed at planning actions aimed at firms in sectors called these basically are firms that have the most difficulty to adapt to a reopening of the economy, because they face a very slow. They have been very much affected by the COVID-19, which led them to have to experience a slow recovery due to the need to fundamental changes in their delivery modes and customer behavior to be reinterpreted and reconceived. Which firms are in these conditions? Well, mostly sectors like tourism, airlines, transport, hotel, office, and related services. The planning actions to help these firms in these sectors should focus on drastic strategies of surviving and thriving. Surviving for thriving. So, and this would involve a complete reinvention of the business model. So, to conclude, if the economy is to reopen, the viability of business will depend on government strategy and business themselves planning ahead their future strategic posture, adapt posture to adapt to new different scenarios with imagination and open mind. Only this will give a superior position to compete in the future post-pandemic market. Thank you very much.